español. Ok, respondemos en español o en inglés. Español. Como quieran. Hola. Hola, hola.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this second media conference. This is Uruguay eve of match briefing ahead of their first match in Rugby World Cup 2023. They will face France here in Lille tomorrow. We have interpretation available, so please use the Rugby World Cup interpretation app. Select between French, English, or Spanish, as you prefer. Before you ask your question, please raise your hand, wait for the microphone to come to you, introduce yourself, and direct the question to any of the three persons that we have here at the top table. We've got Bautista Basso, Felipe Aliaga, and Guzman Barejo for answering your question. First question, please.
Hello, Guzman. How are you? How is the Uruguay team feeling for its debut against the local team against France? Unfortunately, the microphone is not on. We cannot hear the speaker. Unfortunately, there's a problem with the microphone. Yes, now it's working. Thank you. So for us, this match is a unique challenge. It's a huge challenge, and we're really, really enthusiastic to play against the team with such level, a team that's playing on its own ground for our first match, and we're really, really happy and we're impatient to face this challenge. So, Guzman, what are you waiting for from the French team? Guzman? So, you were speaking about the good defense, French's great kicking game. So there was about 12 changes for this game. Do you think that because of these changes, they're going to also change their strategies? Are you waiting for the same type of game, the same as the one that was played against New Zealand? So I know that it's going to be a very huge attack, and they are going to try to control the game. They're going to use their power because they have a physical strength, and we are waiting for that. We are prepared for that, and we have developed our own strategy in order to face our opponents. Hello? Canal Plus. I'm going to be asking my question in French. So, you were training with the noise because no one was there, but to become accustomed to the ambience that we're going to have tomorrow. Yes, hello? We are not used to play with that much noise, with this number of people around us. So yeah, we actually prepared ourselves for that in order to be clear on what we should be doing, and we worked on our communication. We will not be able to communicate a lot, so it's very important to be efficient. So when each and every person knows what their role is, it's going to facilitate things. Hello, I am from Canal Plus. I'm going to be asking the players, what would you consider a success during this match? Is it going to be your attitude on the ground that's going to determine that, or is it a question of result? What is going to be considered for you as a success for tomorrow's match? For us, a success would be to respect our game plan against France, to accomplish what our coaches have asked us to. And if we could do that, this is going to be considered success for us. And the other matches for us that are left are going to, for us, it's essential to win them. This is our goal. Guzman, how are you? What is the objective that your team has set for tomorrow's match? Is there some points that you'd like to focus on? Are you going to be focusing on the possession of the ball, defense? Do you have a particular form of defense put together? So for tomorrow's match, of course, during each phase of the game, we have some objectives. As Valti has mentioned, we want to try to apply our game plan for tomorrow, and if we are successful, we are going to be able to achieve the desired results, and we're very happy for it. We have studied our opponents for a while. We know what their weaknesses are, what their strengths are, and we know what our weaknesses and strengths are. And of course, we have objective in terms of defense and in terms of attack. Of course, I'm not going to give you a lot of details, but we have thought a lot about our objectives. Guzman, you have spoken about the objectives, you have spoken about the results. So what are the objectives and the results, most specifically, that you are trying to reach? So for any match, our objective is to win. Of course, this is our mentality. And I think that any member of the staff or of the team knows that even if victory is going to be quite hard to achieve, we do not want to visualize another objective. And after our and of course, we're going to see what's going to happen, and we're going to fix our objective to win. Balti? 2 years ago, you have started playing within your club, and tomorrow you're going to be playing your first Rugby World Cup game. So what's happening in your head? How are you feeling? What are you thinking about? Hello, I'm very, very touched. I'm very emotional, but the dominant emotion is happiness. I'm very happy to be here. As you mentioned, 2 years ago, I debuted, I started, and afterwards, I had the opportunity to play a sevens rugby, and now I'm selected here. So, of course, it's great. Same question for Felipe. You fought in order to gain your place within this group in 2020. You did not know if you're going to be playing because of the pandemic, and tomorrow you're going to be playing against France. So how are you feeling? What are the emotions that you're feeling? Yes, since rugby became professional in Uruguay, it was my objective, my goal. It was my dream to become a part of this team. And currently, it's a great pleasure for me. So my club, my friends, my family, and a lot of other people supported me. And really, it's a great, great pleasure to finally live that dream. A question for the players. So Santiago is back to the team. So you have opted for a 6-2. So, of course, the return of Santiago is great news for us because he has great experience. So it's a pleasure for us to welcome him back. So we're really happy about that. I join my voice to what Bat has said. Santiago knows the French players very well. He has a lot of experience, which gives us some confidence because he knows how to transfer his confidence to us based on what he has said. As per the 6-2 choice, the players are going to be playing a lot, so it was very important to think about who are we going to pick. So the two bags that we have on are essential. So you are starting your match tomorrow, and a lot of teams have already won. Have already played. Apologies. So you're just starting out tomorrow. Do you think that it was long before you started? So it's a really similar situation to what we lived in Japan. There too, we did not play directly. We are used to that, and of course, we planned our preparation, taking into account this thing. So the fact that we were not playing directly allowed us to look at other people or other teams of play. We were adapting and we looked at the climate, let's say, at the environment. So we consider this an opportunity, the fact that we were playing later on, not directly. Santiago. So the other players talk to you about the environment here in France, the ambience, the atmosphere here in France. Yes, so we talked about talked to the players that won here in France, that played, apologies, here in France before, and we see that France is a rugby country, a lot of fans, a lot of clubs. If we compare it to Uruguay. And if we look at the Rugby World Cup matches that France has played before, we see that their fans were always apologies in the stadium. So there's a lot of passion here. Guzman, to go back to the question of the replacements, we see Ormancea as fly half. He had to take another role. Is it possible for him to do so, or is it going to require some modifications? Oh, it's not. Chevrier is going to become fullback. Baltazar can become scrum half. Nico Freitas can become a center. So some players who are going to be on the field can do it, even if it's not quite natural for them. So if necessary, they can play other roles. They can have other positions. Yes, it's quite clear that you have long-term objectives. You have played during the World Cup already. We speak a lot about the future, so a possible cup in 2024. So do you feel that there's some sort of responsibility towards yourself, towards the other countries of the region? So do you have the responsibility to play well during the cup in order to open the doors for more countries? Yes, we have two aspects that need to be taken into account here. So as per our players, we try not to put ourselves under pressure because it has consequences, of course, on our performance. But we know that this is important for us to have a very good image in order for the high-level teams take us seriously, and we know that we need to promote, we need a large number of participants. So we are ready to play at this high level, and we're ready, to give a good performance, a good show. But of course, we need more competition. That's what we need. If we do not have more competitions with the opponents that have a high level, we are not going to progress. So our responsibility is to speak in the name of those that have not gained their spot in the Rugby World Cup in order to promote their participation. Yes, can you please talk to us about what's happening in terms of the development of rugby in Uruguay that has started like 2-3 years ago? Yes. The World Cups have contributed to promote the rugby in Uruguay, especially since 2019. We have saw an important growth in rugby in our country, and afterwards, because of the pandemic, it regressed. And afterwards, in 2021, we have started with the Inter-American Cup, Rugby Cup. So we are associated to this project, let's say, because we want to promote rugby's growth. And this World Cup 2023 is going to help us to continue growing rugby in Uruguay, and we're going to turn it into a sport that more and more girls and boys want to participate in. And this is the end of this press conference. Thank you very much. Thank you.